Karl Marx, inventor of communism. Well, Karl Marx was the oldest son in a large family. He had 8 siblings. Descended from a long line of rabbis, it's the Jewish, like a Jewish priest, Marx grew up in a home filled with books and learning. They're people of the book. Jews and Christians are people of the book, so reading was very important in his culture. He received an excellent education at a time when Europe was undergoing wrenching social transformations. So he grew up during a very troubled time. As the Industrial Revolution expanded, cities grew and the number of urban poor increased. Although Marx was not the only person at this time who felt that industrialists had a moral obligation to improve social conditions for the poor, he did emerge as one of the most articulate and radical social philosophers of the time. He attacked censorship in Prussia, and he objected to a proposed law prohibiting peasants from collecting firewood, characterizing it as feudal. Eventually, Marx settled in England after being expelled from several Western European countries, including France. They kicked him out. He had to go to England. So in England, he collaborated with Frederick Engels, the son of a Prussian industrialist, to write the Communist Manifesto, the 1848 pamphlet that called for a workers' revolution. Marx also authored works including Das Kapital. These are the books, the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital, that philosophers would read to get this idea of Marxism or communism. So, he didn't do it alone. Marx had Frederick Engels' help. Frederick Engels was an angel to Marx in that he provided him with a lifetime of friendship, intellectual collaboration, and when the Marx family was in dire straits, Engels stepped in with financial support. He was like the Karl Marx's purse. It's very useful to have money. In 1847, the Communist League asked Marx and Engels to write a document summarizing the League's stance. Can you summarize communism for us, Mr. Marx and Engels? So, Marx situated the then present condition of the working class in history, arguing that throughout time, society has been divided into classes which struggle against each other for resources, wealth, and power. Marx and Engels called for a communist revolution, through which the valuable means of production could be seized by the working class and utilized for the benefit of the entire society. This may look like the workers getting together and taking over the factory. And now it's our factory, and we're going to run it for ourselves, and we're going to keep all the profits. And if you read Animal Farm, this is them taking the farm over. We're going to run the farm, and we're going to keep all the profits. That's what a communist revolution would look like. So in all societies, regardless of how primitive or advanced, humans transform natural resources into tools and materials useful for survival. This means the means of production are raw materials, tools, and labor that, when combined, generate items ranging from a loaf of bread to industrial machinery and the products it makes. Social classes have long struggled against each other for ownership of or access to the means of production, the things you use to create. Capitalism is an economic system which advocates for private or individual ownership of the means of production. Like a business owner, I own this business, it's mine. When the means of production are held in private hands, the profit generated through production can also be held privately. My business, my profits, right? Workers become alienated from their labor, receiving wages that are less than the value of their work. For example, if a worker transforms $5 worth of raw material into a product that sells for $50, the worker has contributed $45 of value to the product. However, in order to make a profit, a capitalist may pay the worker only $10 an hour. The capitalist subtracts the cost of the raw materials, the worker's salary, and other business expenses from revenue in order to earn a profit. Marx held that work is so fundamental to human life that it shapes human consciousness. The kind of work we do, the social relations of our work, and the relationship we have to the products of our work determine our outlook on life, our understanding of society, and most importantly, our political views. Needless to say, capitalists, industrialists, monarchists, and the political regime supported by capitalism found Marx's philosophy and his call to revolution very threatening. At the same time, many workers found his analysis of their condition appealing. You're right, we should get paid more. So you see this cartoon. This caricature shows workers being led like lemmings off a cliff. What opinion does this image convey? So you see Marx is pointing them, oh, workers do this, and they're all falling to their doom. Workers are being led to their death by foolishly following Marx's ideas in his call to revolution. This artist is clearly very critical of Marx and Marxism. This is an anti-communist propaganda. Revolution will be your own downfall. So Russia, the spread of Marx's ideas was confined primarily to the cities. It really took up where the industry where the workers were in the cities, where they create the things, where the means of production are. There were study groups there. They would meet and they would share and discuss Marxist literature and ideas. The Russian Social Democratic Labor Party was formed in opposition to the imperial power of the Tsar. So Marxism led to political parties forming around his ideas that challenged the system in place. It challenged the Tsar, the king. It contained a variety of factions. Both populist and socialist emphasized the role of peasants in social reformation and revolution, while Plekhanov and Lenin focused primarily on the revolutionary potential of urban industrial workers. So you have sides within the Marxist group. Some say we need to focus on the farmers. Lenin says we need to focus in the city where the industrial workers are. They had different opinions on how to carry out this revolution, who should carry out this revolution. So, Vladimir Ilyich Ulyanov, Lenin, would adopt the name Lenin later in his life as a pseudonym. It's a fake name. Lenin's older brother, he was hanged for his part in activities against the Tsar. Historians have tried unsuccessfully to attribute this incident to a radicalization of Lenin's philosophy. However, they have been unable to establish a direct connection from his brother's murder by the system and his own, Lenin's radicalism. Lenin was expelled from university for reasons that are unclear. It may have had something to do with his association with his older brother and his older brother's participation in activities opposed to the system, the Tsar. Lenin continued to study both Marxism and the law vigorously on his own. The fact that he was able to pass law exams solely as a result of private study is a testament to Lenin's intelligence and perseverance. These are very difficult tests still today. They require many years of study, and he was able to do it on his own. You just couldn't keep Lenin down. Lenin's career. Well, Lenin was arrested for Marxist activities on behalf of the working class in St. Petersburg. He was exiled to Western Siberia. And if you remember the map last lesson of Russia, Siberia, there's hardly anyone there. There's not a lot of food. It's not a great place to be. But in Siberia, in exile, he adopted the name Lenin after the Lena River there. He continued to engage deeply with Marxist philosophy through study and discussion in underground groups. Remember, he could teach himself the law, he could teach himself Marxism too. While in exile, Lenin observed Russia's agricultural problems firsthand. He also came to understand how deeply committed the peasants were to the idea of private ownership of land. This would become a major point of struggle in the Communist Revolution in 1917. Well, a lot of people want to give up the little bit of land they do have. Here we see Lenin's arrest papers at the time when he was sent off to Siberia. What is to be done? So Lenin says that no movement can be durable without a stable organization of leaders to maintain continuity. He saw himself as this leader for communists. Lenin says that the more widely the masses are spontaneously drawn into the struggle and form the basis of the movement and participate in it, the more necessary it is it to have such an organization, and the more stable it must be. The more people, the more important communism will be. The organization must consist chiefly of persons engaged in revolutionary activities as a profession. We're looking to shake things up, and we need shakers to join us. There are two main branches of socialists in Russia, the Bolsheviks and the Mensheviks. The Bolsheviks and Mensheviks split over leadership and strategy at meetings of the Russia Social Democratic Labour Party in Brussels and London in 1903. Lenin advocated a centralized party led by a professional revolutionary class that would lead the working class. Remember, last slide, he says, oh, we need strong revolutionary leaders. And he thought he would be that leader. Leon Trotsky advocated a more democratic approach to the creation of a communist society. Lenin's position was rejected by the Democratic Labour Party, but when he and his faction won a minor vote over the editorial board of Iskra, meaning spark, they declared themselves the majority, Bolsheviks. So, the word Bolshevik in Russian means the majority, even though he was not the majority, he was the minority. You will have these 3 questions to answer on a Google form for today's assignment.